Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. So, we've been meditating for 24 hours, one day. And it's a good time just to reflect. Yeah. So we're peaceful, lots of thinking, different issues come up. Yeah, so I thought one of the main things to pay attention to, especially in the beginning of the retreat, even though this is a short one, is the kind of attitude that we bring into the meditation. And sure, a lot of times it's from habit. You know, you come to the monastery, you come on this retreat, to a certain extent, because you want to be peaceful. You want to get rid of these negative thoughts. You want to start the new year fresh. You want to stay away from alcohol. You want to become enlightened. It'd be nice to become enlightened for the new year. And I have a really good year when I become enlightened. Right? So sure, of course we have expectation. That's why we're here. Otherwise, you'll be on a holiday somewhere. Well, not really, because the borders are closed, I think. They can't go too far. But you go on a holiday somewhere, or you go to the movies, or some parties. Where is it? At the what is it called? Opera house, right? Watching the fireworks, the opera house, or somewhere. But because you're desperate for peace and happiness, that's why you come here. And that is the genuine, wholesome intention. But we have to be careful is that not to bring that, the desires, the wanting to get things, or wanting to get rid of things. I want to be a new version of myself. No more irritation, no more anger, no more greed. I'm going to be just so calm and wise for the new year. And it's good for my family, for my partner, for my kids. Be a better version of mom, better version of dad, or whatever it is that we're trying to get. And what's the wholesome intention is, like I say, careful to bring that into the meditation. Because, some of you have heard us say it over and over again. There is a thing that we call the walls of wanting. Whatever it is that you want, unfortunately, as soon as you want it, this big wall starts to come up. Because when you want something, what that does is that you're looking for it, right? Looking toward the future, or pushing things away. You're not really being present. That's the thing. And meditation is all about being present, being open, allowing things to be. Sri Samedho, one of his famous kind of phrase that he used over and over again, is that we meditate not to get things or to get rid of things, really. We meditate to understand ourselves. We meditate just to be present. It's only in the present that do we understand the world, do we understand ourselves. And to do that, to really be present, we have to let go of our expectations, let go of what we want. It's good to have goals, but to leave that outside the sala, to leave that in your accommodation. When you walk to the sala, just walking, leaving everything behind. Expectation, wanting, ideas and goals that you might want to get from this retreat, leave that all behind. It's up to the sala, just being here, being this beautiful wooden sala. being present to the body and mind, to our surrounding, and see what unfolds. That's why, and the more that we want things, like I say, you see these walls start to come up, and the stronger the desire, the thicker the walls and the higher it is. And yes, we think I have strong willpowers. I'm going to conquer this. I'm going to bash my head until I break through this wall. You can try. But believe me, the walls, it gets thicker and higher the more you want. But what you need to do is, to understand Dhamma. As soon as you let go of the craving, let go of the wanting, the wall literally disappears. And your peace is just right there. So that's why, even though we have, a desire for peace, we have to approach it in the right way, from the right intention. And the intention is to make peace. Intention is to let go, letting go of desires. Desire is what causes suffering. Even desire for good meditation, even desires for wholesome state of mind, that will cause suffering because it doesn't allow us to be present. When you have desire, you're going to be looking for things in the future. Or you want to be pushing things away. I don't want to be angry anymore. I don't want to be greedy. I don't want to be jealous. I want to be the all-embracing love for the new year. But to do that, we have to understand, we have to let go of the goal, let go of the sense of self, let go of views and opinions. And that's why the skills that you learn in meditation are the same skills that you need in life to live a fulfilled, to live a meaningful life. The skills of letting go, the skills of making peace, the skill of being present, the skills of contentment. You're sitting here, and the body can be a bit achy, it's a bit hot and muggy. But instead of dwelling on that and start complaining, going to the complaining mind, we think, that's okay. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. Just happy to be here, happy to be away from the craziness of the world out there, happy to be in a quiet place for a few minutes, happy just to be in this body of mine. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. I can still sit. I'm just so lucky to be in a peaceful country, to have a place to meditate, have a place to cultivate the mind, to be a bit of, inclined towards a bit peaceful. So as long as you're sitting here, like I said, so much of the work is being done. You made it to the sala, you made it to the retreat. Now really, just allow things to be. That's where the managing, that's where the controlling stops. Just happy to be here, and the mind will settle down. Minds will open up when the time is right. Our job is just to be present. If the mind is thinking, just be aware, it's just thinking. And that's natural. You had a busy week, you have a dramatic week, and of course these things will be bouncing around your head a little bit. That's okay. So much meditation is just to allow things to be, and things will settle down by themselves. A good simile, that a meditation master used, a meditation teacher used, it's like holding a cup of water in your hand, right? You only can't see this. If you have a glass, you will see. You can hold a cup of water, and you can be as still as you can. But the water will always be moving a little bit. Because that's the nature of your muscles in your hands. You just can't be completely still. You'll be pretty close, but it's always a bit of a shaking, because that's the muscle, it just throbs back and forth, human muscles. And try as you may, it won't be perfectly still. The longer you hold it, obviously it becomes a bit heavier. And you have to use a bit more willpower to hold it, try to hold it steady, more firm. You get it pretty close, but it won't be perfectly still. Yeah, the only way to get it perfectly still is not what we think. Exercise more willpower. More, if I can just work out my wrist enough, I can hold it for 2 hours and I'm sure it'll be still. What is that? No, that's not the way of meditation. The only way the water becomes perfectly still, really, let me put it down, put it over here. Put it over there. It won't be perfectly still now, it's just moving a little bit, that's normal, but that's the thing. But then it will slowly become still by itself. And that's the same similarly for the mind. When you first sit down, there's always things bouncing backwards and forwards. But you don't worry about it. You don't sit there and think, oh my God, I am such a horrible meditator. I've been doing this for 10 years, and this mind still bouncing around. After all these teachers I've gone to, after all these retreats I've gone to, and it still does this, I'm never going to get enlightened. And the mind just starts to go off on this tension, all self-doubts and self-deprecation and all sorts of self-things that we get into. We don't go for that. We realize, you know what, I've done this before. This is really boring. Complaining mind. I'm just going to watch it and say, yeah, this is normal. Yeah, I remember this. Okay, that's okay. So don't pay attention to it. It naturally goes away by itself, truly, as long as we don't follow it. And then or something else, and the other thing starts to come up. Thoughts about the deep states that other people get into. The meditation master talks about the jhanas. It would be wonderful if I get into a jhana. I'll be so happy. Life would be just so perfect. It'd be a great way to start the new year, I think. If I get one of these jhanas. And I can tell all my friends about it. 2021 is out. 2022 is looking good. Got into my jhana. But that's also a trap. It's also a mistake. Because then when we're looking, wanting things, even if you did get into a jhana, then the mind will start to grasp, to hold on to that. And you'll compare every other meditation with this, the blissful one. And nothing will compare. And everything will seem like a failure. I'm wasting my time. Unless I get into a jhana, then I'm wasting my time. That's also not a productive way, a skillful way to look at meditation. A good way to look at meditation is like 1% success. That's really, really good. So you're sitting here, like I said, a whole hour, feeling hot and sweaty and uncomfortable. The mind is just babbling away, it just doesn't shut up. Start complaining, you look around, everybody's really quiet, and you get more irritated, more frustrated. It's like, what is going on here? And so then I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm here with it anyway. I might as well try some meditation. I might as well close my eyes and see what happens. You close your eyes and put up with your achy body, stupid noisy bird that doesn't shut up. People keep knocking over their bottles of water. Everything else that's annoying you. But it's like, you know what, that's okay. I'm going to still sit here and see what happens. And towards the end of the session, all of a sudden the mind goes quiet. Just for a split second. Just for a few seconds, it goes shh. It's like, oh, what's going on there? It's only quite quiet. And then the bell rings. You're like, what? I'm just starting out. What's Ajahn doing? But that doesn't matter. What you remember, what you take away, what you focus on, is not the 59 minutes of feeling annoying, feeling wet and hot and sweaty, and feeling distracted. What you remember, take away from that, is that few seconds of peace and stillness. You're like, now I know what it means to be peaceful. Oh, I get it now. I get a taste of peace. Oh, that's what peace feels like. Oh, it feels so nice. Oh, it's a wonderful meditation I just had. Wow, taste of peace. That's great. And you remember that. And that will be the defining feature of your meditation. And when you remember that, that's when the mind will start inclining towards. That will uplift the mind, encourages it. And that is your meditation. It's peaceful, peaceful. It's the same with the world around you. So many things happening. Beautiful acts of generosity, kindness, inspiration, and complete depravity and craziness. What are you going to focus on? Whatever you focus on, that is your world. You focus on love, acceptance, forgiveness, and that is your world. Your world is a beautiful world of supporting each other, of kindness and gentleness. You focus on the violence and the craziness, and that is all your world. You put yourself there. You put yourself in these hellish states. And you don't need to. So knowing that, we're always trying to incline the mind towards wholesome states, towards kindness and gentleness, towards forgiveness and acceptance. It's not that we are, happy, chippy, and deluded, and we dwell in. No, we know that the world can be an unkind, unjust place. But by focusing on those things, it just makes us more anxious, makes us more angry, and we can't, and it just, harms ourselves and others. So being a practitioner, being the follower of the Buddha, understand the mind works. So always incline the mind towards wholesome states, towards goodness, towards peace, towards stillness. Remember that. And we make our world, especially in the mind. What you focus on, what you think about, what you obsess over, that is your world. Unfortunately, a lot of times, because we don't pay attention, we get into these bad habits, and we focus on everything that we've done wrong in our life, everything that's going wrong, what people say about us, criticism. We take that and we hold that to be truth. It's not any more truth than anything else, than the praise in our life. So knowing that, we focus on the positive things. And that's why I keep telling people, and the same with your meditation. Focus on the peace, focus on the stillness. Yes, there are distractions. And tomorrow I'll talk more about that. Until you're fully enlightened, you'll be experiencing different type of distractions. And the most common ones are, likes and dislike. I'm talking about today. Wanting to get things for your meditation. Or wanting to get rid of things when you're meditating. That's a common mistake. But that's also normal. That's what we do throughout the day. We want things and we want to push away things. That's just the mental states of the mind, liking and disliking. That's normal. So once we see that, we say, oh yeah, it's just likes and disliking. That's okay. Don't have to get involved with it. There's a normal habit of the mind. Just let it be. You focus on the peace, all the distractions will be around it. Eventually they'll fade away on their own. Don't need to push them away. And when you push them away, you tend to give it energy and it'll come back stronger. So meditation is about focusing. Just focusing. Whatever you focus on, that stays with you. Everything else just fades away on its own. It's like when you're watching TV. You go to a movie, right? When you're watching a movie, you don't know what kind of curtains they have around it, what's on top of it, what's on the side of it. You're just right in the middle of the screen. The same with meditation. You're focusing, whatever you put in the middle of your awareness, that is. Everything else will start to fade away. In the beginning, you'll see, there's a bit of chattering, a bit of different things happening, but never mind. No need to worry about it. Just stay with the breath, stay with the body, stay with the mantra, and then eventually, everything else will fade away on its own. You don't need to do anything. That's the main thing. Once you get meditation, it's quite easy. There's not a whole lot you have to do. So much of it is just not doing things. That is the part of the trick to meditation is, which is difficult because our day-to-day life, we are encouraged, told we have to do so much to manage things. And then you get to meditation, you have to do the opposite. So in the beginning, it gets a bit tricky. But after a while, you get it. You're like, yeah, okay. Like I said this afternoon, just resting in the present moment. Your job is just to get your bum on the seat, on the mat, and then just to be. You need to do anything else. You need to worry about what you're going to get in meditation. You got your jhanas or not jhana, what you're going to get out of this. Just all that, just let those to fade away. And the mind will start to be settled down, to open up, to be peaceful. Peace will start to come naturally on its own. Another good simile for meditation is the same. It's like, you have a water on the pond, and it's wavy. This movement on the surface of the pond. Because why is that? Because there's wind on top of the surface of the water. And the only way that, the water stops moving is the wind dies away. And wind is, the thinking mind, the wanting mind. But sometimes, we want, in order to, are not impatient, we try to, calm the water down. We put our hand in, we try to pat it down. Yeah. What does that do? It only makes more waves, more movement. And that's what happens when we're trying to exert our will. So I'm really focused on my breathing. I'm going to count 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. We're really going to focus there. And then you get the samadhi headache that so many people get because they're wanting something from it. They're going to exert their will. Meditation is just actually, you can do it to a certain extent. Like I said, willpower only does something. But it might give you a bit of peaceful because you're so focused and you're kind of squeezing your mind into the object. And it works for a little bit. It gives you some measure of peace. But they would call that wrong samadhi because your body becomes more tense and you're actually more tense after the meditation than before the meditation. And it's counterproductive. So, you don't want a result at all costs. You don't want to get, kind of drill your mind onto the breath at all costs. It's more of a gentle holding of the breath. And sometimes, if the breath is not there, they know that that time is not right, and try to do a different type of meditation. So it's just kind of a gentle holding of the meditation object. And sometimes when the mind is too busy, too scattered, it doesn't stay. So then you realize, that day, meditation is not going to be great, but that's okay. You just allow that to be, allow the mind to move. Sometimes it will settle down on its own, but squeezing it is not going to help. And that's why we get, become more stressed out, more tense. So be aware of that as well. After meditation, you're feeling more peaceful, more relaxed, or the opposite. Really, in order to be with the breath, like I said, it's a tricky sense. Yes, meditation, you have to be one with the breath, the breathing process. But in order to do that, you have to let go of everything else. So that's why sometimes it's kind of the hold on to the breath, but also simultaneously letting go of everything else. You only can be with the breathing process if you're letting go of your thoughts, letting go of the feelings in the body, letting go of your expectations. So there's a lot of letting go involved. And that's the surest way to a peaceful meditation, is the letting go, letting things fade away. It's not pushing away, so it's more subtle. Just letting things be and it'll fade away by itself. But eventually for you, the only way to be with the breathing process. I say breathing process is because, breath is part of that, but it's the whole thing. The only way to be with the breathing process is, for any extended time, is that you are practicing letting go of everything else around you. For anything, it is a natural process. It will happen by itself. So you don't have to try too hard. You can start out, like I said, with the body first, the sensation of the body. Once that is settled, once the body is settled, become more still, the only thing that's moving is the breathing process. And the mind will naturally be drawn to that by itself. You don't need to kind of drill it in your mind so much. Yeah. So, like I said, it is as we sit down, as you continue to meditate the next few days, just to check, what is your attitude? What do you bring into the meditation? And if you have anything of wanting, any project, any goals, okay, I'm just going to be here. I encourage people to say it over and over again, to remind yourself, just in the beginning, nothing to do, nowhere to go. You're not here to get jhanas. You're not here to become enlightened. Not here to get rid of anything. You're here just to be present. To really maybe, to understand a bit more about yourself. What happens when you're not busy doing things? What happens when you're not, figuring out the world's problems? When you're not having views and opinions about everything around you? What happens when you're sitting here with just eyes closed? What things come up? Where are your thoughts? Where do you go? What things you obsess over? What things you long for? Get to understand the mind. Understand the undercurrent of the mind, of our mind, habitual mind. Where does it go when you're not doing things? Then you have a better understanding of your own kind of inner world, your emotional states. And from then, you can start to process some of the things in our mind. From then, we can allow the mind to be more still. And it's through that same kind of inclination of making peace, of being still, that we also learn to live in the world, to focus on, the goodness of the world, focus on our own goodness, focus on wholesome states, focusing on acceptance, forgiveness, letting go. I always encourage people, forgiveness is a powerful tool that we can use in our day-to-day life. So much of our life is kind of weighed down by negativity, by holding on to the negative things that people have done to us or say to us unnecessarily. And then we make ourselves unhappy. Tell people over and over again, if someone annoys you, you have a negative interaction, like I said, you're having a perfectly good day, it's wonderful, sitting there enjoying your cup of coffee, and then they walk into the room, and you're like, your whole mood changed. Whose fault is that? And you're like, of course it's their fault, they're annoying me. Really? They haven't done anything, they just come into the room. And everything, all your perception and views just come up, because those are the things you're holding on to. But you learn to let that go. Then the mind is peaceful, mind is happy. Yeah. So much of our suffering, so much of our stress in our life is not necessary. It's optional. We can let this go through training. But learning to retrain the mind with new habits, wholesome habits, that we can bring a sense of peace and stillness in our life, a sense of contentment, a sense of true happiness and well-being for ourselves. And when we have that, then we can spread that to others. But we're constantly being annoyed, being afraid, being anxious. Then it's hard to show love and kindness to others when we are caught up on our own issues. Yeah. So through meditation, we learn to always incline the mind towards wholesome states. That also is a skill that we need to live in this world that's getting smaller and smaller. Live in this world that sometimes, changes very quickly. To be able to adapt going forward. Whether the pandemic continues or not, it doesn't matter. We could focus on the positive things in the world. So the skills that we learn next few days, meditation, the same skills that you can bring into your day-to-day life, allow you to live in the world that is also changing very quickly. But that doesn't have to be a cause for stress and worries, because we have the skills to look after our minds. Okay, so I offer those for your reflection tonight in terms of meditation and the skills you bring into the day-to-day life. Okay, so I have a few questions before that. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask? Any comments? Okay, I'll read out these questions. Okay, first question is, and it's a question that's good. A lot of people do ask it from time to time. Is enduring pain part of the practice? If so, how long to endure it? Yeah, so the problem with pain in the body is something that every single one of us will have to face at one time or another. And it varies, obviously, some people, I didn't know this, but yeah, some people say literally when they sit down, they're in pain until the time they stand up. So other people, you can exert more comfort. But certainly each and every one of us, the longer you sit, it's just sometimes the body's more painful. So pain is, one is to expect it. That is part of life and part of meditation. But also, it doesn't mean that you have to, add more on top of that. There's a certain amount of discomfort in the body already to begin with. So my recommendation for most people is that to make it as comfortable as you can. No need to sit on full lotus if it's causing too much pain. If you can do that comfortably, go for it. But there's no need to sit on any special position, even posture, if it's going to cause too much pain in a shorter time. The good balance that, with the average health, flexibility, depends on your age and stuff, you should be able to sit between half an hour to an hour with relative ease. If that is not the case, then find ways to increase it, half an hour, in the sense that use stools, use sitting cushion. That's not comfortable enough. Sit on a chair, couch, anything that allows a bit of comfort to the body first. Yeah. Sometimes, many teachers says, well, you got to sit in, lotus or whatever. Initially, 2,000 years ago, when there was not too many chairs in the forest, when you're walking around the forest, obviously the most stable position is half lotus or full lotus because it's on the ground and it's more stable. But if you're not used to it, then of course, use the chair, use the stool, just to set your posture fairly straight. And then the thing is that the mind, and this is what you have to understand, the mind, very difficult for the mind to settle down if the body is on fire. If it's constantly painful, it's not going to be able to focus on the breath. It's not going to be able to focus on anything if your body's in pain the whole time. So yes, part of the practice is to work with the pain. So what you do is you don't want to move, and every time that there is, an itch, every time that there is a sore. So you want to, that's what the middle way is. You want to push it about 5 or 10 minutes, or a few extra minutes. When your knees start to hurt, it's like, I'm not going to move right away. I'm going to be bringing my awareness to the knee or to the back. And then just relax around the pain. I'm going to tighten it. Naturally, what pain is you tighten it. So I'm going to relax around my pain a little bit. And we just be with it for a few minutes and see what happens. the pain subsides, good. Well and good, you sit for a little bit more. If it doesn't, just do another minute or two and then just change your posture. Switch your legs. So you know, and then mind will come back, and then you can go back to the breathing process. Go back to the body, or go back to your mantra. That's why in the beginning of every meditation, to get people to, you know, bring some awareness into the body first. Settle your body first. Make any adjustment you can, and then leave it and focus on the mind. Yeah, there has to be a bit of comfort first. And the good thing is that as your mind settles down, your body will also settle down by itself. That you find that you can sit longer naturally without forcing yourself with the clock, like I'm not moving to 2 hours up. That's not good. Eventually, yeah, sure, if you're doing this for a few years and your body is good, flexible, you can say, yeah, okay, you know, there is a type of practice where you make a determination, like I'm not going to move for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, no problem. Once you have a certain amount of stability in the mind, then you can start pushing the envelope a little bit. And like I said, you know, and sometimes you see, you know, the mind is, you know, obviously, you know, sometimes it's restless, so it wants to move around. And it's bored, so my pain, you know, there's pain in my knee, I want to move now. And then at times, you can push through that, but not all the time. Yeah. So that, you know, and in order to endure the pain, you have to have two things. One is a measure of samadhi, a measure of peace in the mind already, and two, tremendous faith. So that's why you have traditional Thai monks or the Burmese monk who have a lot of faith, grow up in Buddhist all their lives, so they've, you know, probably been meditating for 100 lifetimes, and then they sit, and their body's on fire, but they don't move, they still sit. But that's because they have a lot of faith, and they've been doing this for a long, long, long time. So they can sit through those things. But, you know, in the Western context, we have so many monks and nuns that actually do their knee in after these sessions because they read this biography and they're like really inspired and they want to try it out. And all they do is end up with really broken knees. And they can't never sit again. Yeah, so don't do that. Do a gradual kind of process of, you know, just sitting 5 minutes, 10 minutes extra when the knee starts to feel. And that's the main thing, is also to use your common sense. If you get up and walk around and rub your knee and the pain goes away, okay, you know, okay, that was not too bad. That you can, you know, push it and stay with, you know, push an extra few minutes. But if you get up and rub your knee and walk around and it's there an hour later, you know that you've done too much. You push too far. And that the next time the pain comes up, you should change your posture sooner rather than later. Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's not always, oh yeah, I'm going to have faith in the Buddha. The Buddha sat until, you know, he sat until his bones, you know, the flesh melt away and the bone is kind of brittle, and then he'll, you know, sit there until he become enlightened. Yeah, that's the Buddha. He's got lots of things going on for him already. most of you know, us, we don't have that much spiritual perfections just yet. So we have to work what you have. Yeah, and it's like I said, it's also a gradual process. Don't be into a hurry to become enlightened. The Buddha said, you know, the path to enlightenment is beautiful in the beginning, beautiful in the middle, and beautiful in the end. So enjoy the journey. Really, it's a path towards greater happiness and well-being. So don't rush through it. Samadhi is the same thing. Your meditation will take off naturally. But just focus on peace. A few minutes at a time, a few moments at a time. Those things will build up over time. And you'll say, wow, it is amazing. Once you experience peace, nothing in the world literally compares to the peaceful peace of the mind. No need to go to the opera house to see the fireworks. You have your own fireworks inside you. Every time you sit, beautiful lights come up, beautiful feelings. No alcohol needed. And it's a beautiful way of being. Yeah. So, but everything is within you. You just have to have the patience just to be. Patience of faith, just to practice. Every day, moment by moment. And things will happen. So that is a bit of talk on how long to endure pain. Just gradually, a few minutes at a time. Okay? Second one is, how can we stop comparing ourselves to others? That's also a common trap that we fall into. That we sit, either we're bored, or restless, and we start looking around. Like, I'm not going to get up until that person over there gets up. All sorts of ideas that we fight with ourselves. Yeah. And that's just, we know that if you go to enough retreats, just know that it's just suffering. And it's like, it's silly. Yeah. And you say, oh yeah, I remember, yeah, oh, I know this, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this, I'm just, and just the practice is about looking inwards. And sometimes just to see that, just habits of the mind. We're in a society that always likes to compare, always pitch us against each other with social media. It's always, oh yeah, I wonder how he's doing. Always checking each other out, always constantly comparing. So there's a certain amount of habitual things that we have picked up from the worldly society around us that is not in accord with Dhamma, that is not in accord with the Buddha's teaching. So we have to understand that. So when we sit down, the mind starts to go that way, you're like, no. That doesn't bring happiness. That doesn't bring peace. Doesn't bring a communal harmony. When we set ourselves, and also it's complete delusion. Like, how can you compare yourself with another person? They could be meditating for, 50 lifetimes already. So of course when they sit down, they're very peaceful. They've been doing that. You haven't been meditating at all. You're doing all sorts of other things. Yeah, so we just compare. Comparing yourself to another is like comparing an orange with a bicycle. There is no basis for comparison. Yeah, but sure, it's an old habit, a habit that is encouraged by the world around us. But when you go to school, you're comparing yourself with others. Your percentile, right? When your kids take tests, what do they compare? They're comparing to other kids. So we constantly encourage all throughout our life to constantly compare ourselves with others. And that's the thing that we have to say, no, in the worldly way, some of it makes sense, some of it is useful, in a certain way. But into the Dhamma practice, it is counterproductive. It doesn't bring peace, doesn't bring stillness. It's going the wrong direction. It's going outwards. That's not where you want to go. You want to go inwards. What is happening here? Where's my mind? Where's my mental states? Where's my mood? How can I calm down? How can I be with things? How can I learn to be more spacious with my mind? How do I learn to accept things and people for the way they are? Because remember, at the bottom, at the heart of Buddhist teaching is causality. Things happen because of causes and results, right? So, certain things happen, we have to learn how to understand. It is the way it is, because there's so many results that come together for the way it is. It can't be any other way. So your meditation is not coming together, there's a cause. The mind is not peaceful. Instead of kind of change or rail it against, try to understand, why is the mind not peaceful? And also, meditation is only about understanding as it is. So when the mind is not peaceful, no, it is not peaceful, that much. It's not going to kill you, you're not going to die from a restless mind, you're not going to die from a bored mind. It's just not the most pleasant things, but so what? We're all adults, you can bear a bit of unpleasantness. Understand, an unpeaceful mind, a restless mind, just feels like this. No more, no less. You have a good meditation, a peaceful mind, feels like this. No more, no less. You're not going to be happy forever. It's happy, it's good, it's enjoyable, but with anything, it also fades away. And so is a restless mind, that also fades away as well. So nothing is really permanent, nothing is defining you. Sometimes you're peaceful, sometimes you're not. It's just that much. No more, no less. So your job is just to understand things as they are. Not to kind of push it for anything. Not to push for more peace. Peace will happen naturally. the more you understand things, more peace will naturally happen. Yeah. It's a training of the mind. So comparing yourself to others, like I said, it just feeds the delusion that you're real, something's real in here, or they're real, something real there. They're also a changing condition as well. Today, they might be said really well. Tomorrow, you don't know. And that's, it points to kind of a story that I think who told? I think actually Jaya Saro said this. One of my first teachers, the abbot of Wat Pananachat, he said he was, during when he was a young monk, I think it's Anagarika, was really impressed with one of the newly ordained monk. I think he's been a young monk. He's been a monk for about 3 or 4 years or something. This French monk who was just seems to be so mindful, so restrained. People, washing the bowl, they're talking away, banging things. This French monk is just very calm, washing his bowl quietly. He's very quiet. After he finishes washing his bowl and doing his chores, he goes back to his kuti and meditates. And in the meditation hall, he's just really straight, all night sitting. Everybody's nodding backwards and forwards, falling everywhere. This monk is just sitting very quiet, still. And it's like, wow, when I become a monk, I want to be just like him over there. And then just before Ajahn, I think he ordained, the monk disrobed. And everybody's so shocked, like, what? We thought you were enlightened already. You're so quiet. And he says, and then they find out that his internal state wasn't as peaceful. That the reason he was so like that was because he felt his mind was very, very kind of distracted, lots of thinking. But he thought, well, as soon as I can keep it together externally, maybe, hopefully, the mind will settle down. And he says sometimes on those all-night sits, when he says, oh, I wish I could fall asleep like you guys, but I just can't. I'm just too nervous. I'm just so nervous. I can't fall asleep. I'm just full of tension. I wish I could fall asleep with everybody else around me, but I can't. Yes. So that's what happens when we're trying to judge each other and we think, oh yeah, so-and-so is doing so well. It's like we don't know what other people are going through. They could be blissing out, but it could be completely something else different. And it doesn't really matter. The thing is, just understand, how do you deal with your own mind and mental states? How do you, to be with things? And like I said, boredom isn't a problem. So I encourage people, boredom is actually good. When you go here, you turn off your phone, not listen to music, not updating everybody on your Facebook account or whatever, Instagram, and you're like, oh, I'm really bored. Boredom is good. Boredom is a precursor to peace. So that's what peace is like. Nothing's happening. That's why you're bored, because you're used to stimulation. And then you're like, no stimulation, I'm bored. No, it's peace. When you're bored, because we want to be, I want peace, but I want to be excitement too. It's like, well, you can't have both. Yeah, so learn to be bored, learn to be with boredom first. And then the minds will, because, when people say they're bored, what they're saying is that, my mind is peaceful, but I'm not really ready for it yet. I want to do something else. I want to be entertained. Yeah, I want to be, have things to think about, or have things to feel strongly about, having opinions about things. So, with the mind, when you're sitting there and you're like, this is really boring, just say, oh, this is really peaceful. This is good. I'm getting more peaceful now. I wonder what's going on. I wonder what it feels like. Yeah. So it's just a change of attitude about your own mental states. And remember, it's about going inward to understand what's in here. And that's what the kind of irony thing, like almost a paradox. When you understand your own mental state, body and mind, you actually understand. And it gives you the same feeling of understanding everything else around you, because everybody else has the same body and mind. They all have to want to feel happy and avoid suffering. We all have the same feeling. So that's the irony of things. The more you understand this thing inside of you, the more you start understanding the world around you. And it's not going outwards. We've done that as a society. We just focus so much on outwards, learning outward, but we don't really know here so much. And that's why so much problems in the world. because we keep going outward, we're not looking inward. Yeah, so obviously with meditation, we learn to look inward. How do I cultivate more peace, more kindness, more stillness? Then everything else will come together. Yeah. So that's why, also with anything, just know your own mind. I don't want to say, focusing on others, comparing yourself is bad. No, it is what it is. So next time you comparing yourself, is that going to lead to more peace and happiness? Is that going to lead to more, well-being? Probably not. So then you just know that much, and the mind will start to veer away from that. So it's not to you don't have to do anything so actively. You just say, yeah, this is what it feels like. When I look around, I compare, this is what it feels like. After a while, the mind says, yeah, this is not good. This is not fun, I'm not doing this. Last time I did that, it just brings more worries, anxiety, and just more distraction. It's not really helping. Not really understanding myself more when I look at others. Yeah. But if you are looking at others, trying to look at the good things, be inspired by their kindness and their awareness. Yeah. So you are looking around, just look around with kindness and gentleness, with inspiration, not with fault-finding. So that's a bit about comparing ourselves to others. Any questions or comments? And the final question is, sometimes I feel inadequate about my job, thinking that I'm not good enough, and then become stressed about it. Can Ajahn please advise how to respond skillfully in this situation? Thank you. I think feeling of inadequacy, it's a lot of time is just doubt. And doubt is one of the 5 hindrances in the mind I'll talk more about tomorrow. But doubt is part of having an unenlightened mind. Doubt will come up from time to time. First is doubt, am I doing the right thing? Doubt whether I have what it takes to do this thing, or doubt in the teaching. So doubts can take many kind of forms. But what you need to do is just know when this feeling of inadequacy come up, that maybe I don't have what it takes, or maybe I'm not good enough to do the job. Just know that's doubt coming up, and just know what is the manifestation of doubt in you. How is it triggered, and where is it express itself in the body? Focus on that more. Sometimes doubt, what it does, or any kind of negative mental states, we take the trigger and we kind of attach our mind to it, and it goes on and on tells, I'm not good at this job because, I made that mistake, and I didn't really go to that good of a school, and maybe I did really good with the interviews, but no, naturally I'm not really this good, I'm just doing terrible. And it just goes on and on about that narrative. And it feeds on itself more, and you feel it more terrible the more you think about it. But what these feelings of doubt comes up, it's just label what it is. This is just doubt coming up. And then go to the physical sensation of your body. Where is it? How do I feel my body when I have this feeling comes up? How do I learn? Usually there's tension somewhere. Sometimes it feels like a hollow in your kind of abdomen, or just a tension around your shoulder and your neck, or it can be about your jawline. So what you need to do is just kind of be in touch with those bodily parts, and to learn to relax, to soothe those tension out first. And then you'll find that it helps ease away the doubt. Because what it does is it takes your attention away from the thinking process, the stories around the doubt, how inadequate you are, and blah, 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 blah. So negativity. So that takes away that. You're not doing that anymore, not feeding that. So that will ease. And then also, you're kind of paying some attention to the body, which a lot of times is, can be quite tense, because we can be disembodied so much. We're not in a body, and we walk around with really tense bodies and tense muscles we're not aware of. So when the feeling of doubt comes up, then just learn, pay attention, be a bit kind, gentle to your body, relaxing, soothing different tight and tense muscles around the body. And then those feelings of doubt will go away. Yeah. So fear, doubt, anger, just go to the body first. Away from the thinking process that just feeds on the same moods. Yeah. So in just doubt, just know for what it is and go to the body. And you'll see that over time, the doubting process, you'll see it clearly, know for what it is. Yeah, it'll fade away on its own when the time is right. Does that make sense? Questions or comments? Okay, so that is the first part of tonight. Second part of the Christmas, of the New Year celebration. Like I said, we can continue walking and sitting, and then 11 o'clock back here we'll chant the Iti Piso to midnight. We'll decide what's after that. But like I said, it's optional, and otherwise back here tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Okay, so we're about together.